Hello and welcome to take 2 of today's Facebook Live. Apologies to those of you who were watching at 7 o'clock. Not quite sure what happened with the tech, but the video pixelated about halfway through. So I'm trying with a lead now, so fingers crossed we managed to get through the video in one take this time. So tonight I'm going to be talking about how children know whether to use the letter C or the letter K at the beginning of a word when they hear the K sound. As with any rule, when we think about spelling in English, there are always going to be exceptions. However, despite the exceptions, I think this is a really useful rule to share with the children at Phase 5B. It can be really useful for their spelling. So up until Phase 5B, the children know that the letter C and the letter K can both make a K sound at the beginning of a word. If they're writing and they're not sure which one to use, I usually say to them, if you're not certain, use the letter C because it's far more likely to be that one than the letter K. When they get to Phase 5B, we can then give them a much more precise rule. So they go into Phase 5B knowing that the letter C makes a K sound. We're now going to teach them that sometimes it's going to make a S sound. So how do they know when it's going to be K and when it's going to be S? There is a little rule, and I've made up a little song to go with this rule that has proved very useful in children remembering the rule. And it goes like this. C says S before E-I-Y, E-I-Y, E-I-Y. C says S before E-I-Y, C says S. So we have S-E-L, sell, E, celery. S-it-e, city. S-it-l, sil, it-n, in, d, cylinder. So if children now want to write the K sound at the beginning of a word, if there is an E, I or a Y, it's not going to be a good idea to use the letter C, because if you use the letter C, it's going to be making S. So therefore, if you can hear a K sound before an E, I or a Y, it's the letter K that you're going to need to use. So I have another little song that we can use with the children to help them to remember this. K says K before E-I-Y, E-I-Y, E-I-Y. K says K before E-I-Y, K says K. So we have K-ept, kept, K-ite, kite, and K-I-le, Kyle, E, Kylie. So when it comes to spelling words, if we have a look at spelling a couple of different words here, if we're trying to write the word car, we have K and R. We don't have an E-I or a Y here, so this one will stay making a K sound, so we have K-R, car. If we're trying to write the word kit, we have K-it, kit. We have got a letter I here, so if we were to use the letter C, we've now potentially written S-it, sit. So we will need to use the letter K because K says K before E, I and Y. So now we have K-it, kit. So then we have a couple of rules for you, which should hopefully prove useful to you and the children in terms of spelling. If you are subscribed to the Gold Treasure Box on my website, you will be able to download the song from there. Next week at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, I'm going to be looking at how children know which sound to use for the letter A when they see that in an unknown word. So hopefully see you next Wednesday.